Hey guys, welcome to Switchcraft and Switchery. I'm Ryan and Jeremy is here with me, and we have spent almost a full week with the Nintendo Switch 2, and we're here to give our thoughts on how awesome of a console this is, what we like, what we don't like. So, we're gonna jump right into it. Jeremy, why don't you hit us with like your whole process of getting the actual console?
Yeah, so we talked some about that last time. Just to get right into it, I had pre-ordered the console from GameStop, and I went to the midnight release, and it was fun. I was I was hoping for a little bit more hype. Um, Everyone was just kind of like on their phones and not really talking. Um, but I get it. It's 11:30 at night, and we're not kids anymore.
Yeah.
So Um, but yeah, so I went and got the console with the Mario Kart bundle at midnight. Got it home. I did my unboxing, which took a lot of patience to not just like rip it open. But I'm glad that I was able to capture that and get some of my um, initial thoughts there. So make sure you check out that video. It's on our channel. I think it's called, I should know that, Getting the Switch 2 at Midnight or something like that. You just look for it. I'm pretty proud of that little video project. It was fun to make. So, um, yeah, so got it home, played a few rounds of Mario Kart. I think by the time I'd done all of that stuff, I was up until 4 a.m., which was wild. Cause I still had to do like my transfer stuff, and that took a little while.
Hmm.
Um, and then like installing the game and all that. So, anyway, so the next morning, I wanted to go ahead and see if I could snag a case, and I had a friend that was looking for one, and he was out of town at the on launch day there, and so I ran to Best Buy to see if I could get one, and I walked in and there was like a small line, and I asked, and they had like a bunch of consoles apparently, which is really cool. So I actually grabbed a second Mario Kart bundle from my friend, and his wife came by and picked it up later that night. So I was happy to be able to help him out. And the case that I got is I think it's like Best Buy's brand. It's like Next, I think is what it's called. And then I grabbed a little, I'm not going to pull it out, but I grabbed like a little game case that has like little spots for games. And then I got, what else did I get? Screen protector. I think that was everything. So just kind of some stuff to get started with. I guess I should also know I got the Pro Controller, which is sitting right here in front of me. And I, I I think my thought is if you have a Switch 1 Pro controller and you're on a tight budget and you're trying to decide between this and a game, it I'd probably go with the game, but at the same time, this controller is really, really nice. It just feels really premium in my hands, and the sticks are just you have to really just play one to know how it feels, but
Hmm.
uh, and to like really understand it. But I honestly do think it's worth it. It's a really nice upgrade, and for me, it was an extra almost $100 with tax. But for me, like it's a new console, it's a new time to have something just to add to that to make it feel more like premium was worth it. So I'm loving the Switch 2 Pro controller so far, and we'll get more into like our thoughts on the console and all that. But long story short, so I had pre-ordered the Switch 2, the Pro controller, and then I picked up a case, a game slot screen protector, and was actually able to walk into Best Buy and grab a non-pre-ordered Switch 2 on the morning of launch, which is pretty cool, considering all just like the drama and everything,
Hmm.
um, and us staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning and going to GameStop and lining up and all this stuff trying to get one. The fact that I was able to just walk in and get one was pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
what about you?
Yeah, so on the whole thing of like plentiful Switch 2s, before I get started, I actually had a coworker of mine. He was like, "Hey, I ended up getting a Switch 2 last week." So everybody was like excited, for me to bring the console in like day after launch. And it was interesting after he saw it, he was like, "Oh, dude, like I got to get one of these," and he was able to. So I think that's really cool on like Nintendo's part because I do feel like we always hear about hey, the console's launched, and like even all the way back to like the PS2 days, it's like, dude, you just can't get a hold of one for like months and months or whatever. So maybe after like what the PS2 is like 20 years old, maybe after 20 years, like these companies have figured it out. But Yeah, on my console experience, I was actually thinking about this. I don't think it could be more different than what you experienced. Like it is the exact opposite. So, I like, I went to bed on Wednesday. I like woke up a couple times in the night, had to like maybe use the bathroom. I'm like checking outside or checking my phone to see if like it had been delivered, nothing. But I had like a nice restful night's sleep. um,
I didn't.
and so I woke up like, my normal time, I'm getting up at like, 5:30, 6 in the morning, make like a nice coffee or whatever, and I'm just like chilling on my couch. Like I know it's coming. It's supposed to be, right? And so at 6:30 I get like an update on my phone that's like, "Hey, we're preparing your order for the Switch 2." And I'm like, "Dude, it's on the way. This is awesome." And then it said like your order is on the way, it'll be there by 6:45. And sure enough, by 6:45 this like black van pulls up next to my house or whatever, and this lady like gets out. She has like a little tote. She brings it up to the door and sets it down, and it was there at 6:45, like exactly like the app said. So I was like, holy crap, like that couldn't have been more like seamless, right? And I just picked it up off my front porch and carried it inside. They also gave me like pizza Pringles and a Coke or whatever with the Switch 2. I did not order
Dude,
that,
that's awesome.
but I'm like, dude, what's better than like video games, Coke, and chips? Like
Like, yeah.
that's the best. So
I don't know.
yeah,
You probably saw this, but like I guess everyone that got one with Walmart got that,
really.
or a lot of people did it. Yeah, I saw a lot of people online saying that they got that like in the bag with their Switch, which that's really cool to me,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like that reminds me of like going to Blockbuster and like getting a movie and grabbing like a soda and a like a candy bar or something. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, I totally didn't expect it, and it like, I mean, honestly, shout out to Walmart. It like totally made me smile. Like, if that was your intention, then you did your job. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I came down here and like, I set up a live stream or whatever so that I could open the console, and like, I had a few technical issues while I was like opening the console as far as like from the stream perspective, but like, I mean, just unboxing the thing and just being like, just seeing the screen, I was like, dude, this thing is gonna be the next level. Like, it was so much bigger than the Switch because I had the original Switch down there. But yeah, I did the local transfer, and so after I kind of like unboxed everything, I actually kind of ran into a hiccup because when you were doing the local transfer, you had to plug in the Switch and the Switch 2 each to power. And so I had, the Switch power supply like laced in to my like entertainment center. So I actually like had to stop and like run upstairs and grab the original power supply because it wouldn't work even with like a high wattage charger. I don't know why it just wouldn't, but it wouldn't recognize it. So I got the original charger, plugged it in, and transferred everything over. Um, and that was that. The only thing that I'll mention on the video is, I did have other users on the console that I didn't want to transfer over, and that's been kind of a pain because I like wanted to keep like the other users on the old Switch so they like wouldn't lose their save data, and so like you kind of have the console like set up so that they could use it and then I would have the Switch too. That was not as straightforward as I hoped, and I've read online that there were other people that had issues with that too. But I mean, it's all good. The data ended up all moving over to the Switch, so all users' data is somewhere, or the Switch too. So, but yeah, after I got it set up, man, the first thing I noticed, like the screen just looks fantastic. It feels so much more premium than the Switch 2 or the original Switch. It was just honestly, the whole process for me was really easy. Like, I ordered it online. It came to my house exactly when they said it was going to come, and there was no hiccups. The console fired right up. The transfer worked, and I was playing Mario Kart World like within just a little bit after getting the console set up. So I was like, yeah, that couldn't have been an easier process for me.
Yeah, I did like the cloud thing. So I uploaded mine to the cloud like right when I left to go to GameStop, and I think it said it was going to take like 30 minutes or something. So got home, set up my Switch and downloaded that. And that took a little bit, and then downloading Mario Kart World they were maybe like 20 minutes each or something. I can't even remember now, but um, it was relatively seamless. Like it wasn't too bad, but it was. I was certainly chomping at the bits to
Hmm.
get playing. So one other thing I was going to note too, I just thought of this. I don't know if you saw this, but I saw some like reels or TikToks or something or YouTube shorts that like apparently Best Buy for people that pre-ordered, they got some little like medallion thing, like a little token. Like it looks like a poker chip or something. It says like Nintendo Switch launch or something like that. I don't know if that was everyone, but I saw several people online saying that. So kind of cool that like some of these retailers did like a little extra thing or whatever for the launch. That just makes it exciting to me.
Yeah, man, because that's like with the Walmart thing. Like I'm always gonna remember that I got like the cool chips and Coke with my console. Like that'll be something I'm talking about like 5 years from now. Be like, oh, remember launch day when I got that cool thing? Like just kind of like
Yeah,
a little extra thing right there to remember it by.
GameStop gave people a staple in their screen.
Dude, that's so brutal.
That was it, bro.
I
That wasn't us. That was in New Jersey or something somewhere, I think.
that
But
is just. But so once you got the console, you got it set up, you actually got
yeah,
some sleep. Like what was it like having the console? What was your experience within the first like couple of days?
yeah. Well, it's funny what you mentioned a minute ago about the screen. Like, I did my initial setup like in handheld, and then as soon as that was ready, I put it in the dock, and I don't think I like took it out until the next day when I realized that the screen was looks as good as it does, and which is awesome. But
Yes.
um, transition point to my kind of my first week with the Switch. So I I played a lot of docked. I streamed some. I played on my TV, but I also I well, it's good to mention that I was off work all of last week. And so I just kind of spent the week taking the Switch all over the place, which was a lot of fun. I took it to coffee shops. I took it to work, to my other job. I have like a side job. I actually I actually went downtown in the city that I live in, and just kind of spent a day like going around. Like I played it in a coffee shop, and then I went and played it like on a bench on the side of the street, and then I went to this really cool park in the middle of downtown, and like played it on a just like a little table next to a fountain. I played it sitting next to a pool. Actually went camping and took it camping. Um, and I played it like next to the fire in the morning when I was drinking my coffee. I set it up on a little table and was playing it in the tent in a rainstorm, which was really fun. So, and of course, like all these things were possible with the Switch One, but like just the new excitement around like the new console and just having new life, just kind of like reinvigorated all that. So it was really cool to just like get back to playing the Switch like the way that Nintendo intended it and be able to playing these games that we play on our TVs that look amazing, and to throw them in my backpack and play them anywhere that I want without taking a hit, um, or like having to play it on a cloud or something. Like you just pick it up and go,
Hmm.
and which is what the Switch, which is what like the whole Switch generation like is all about. So it's cool to just kind of like get back to that again with some new excitement and new quality, and we'll maybe get into this in a little bit, but it's funny like this generation it's like the screen on the Switch looks better than most people's TVs, and a lot of people are saying that handheld and tabletop is like the more premium experience.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah, I think this console is the first high fidelity portable console. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
again, I love like the PC stuff, the handheld PCs like the Steam Deck and like ROG Ally or whatever. Of course, Xbox has their new like Asus machine coming out, but this, I don't know if they're gonna feel as portable or as premium. Like I've held a Steam Deck, it feels really good, but this just feels like Nintendo has finally taken the next step of like this is the industry leading handheld gaming console. Like this is what kind of the future is probably going to look like for anybody who's in the video games.
that was my kind of first week with the console. Tell us about yours.
Yeah, so the crazy thing for me is like I got the console on launch day. I played it basically all day. Then I went to work and took it to work, and like nobody was there except for like a few people. And so I like played it when I was like at work, like, you know, when I had free time and stuff like that. But I was like, I need a case. And I'm kind of like, I'm very specific about what I wanted in a case. And I didn't want something that's like super thick because like my original Switch, I had a really thin, really hard shell case for it. It was perfect because like I would just put the Switch in there, have a few games, put in my backpack, it would never get damaged. So I wanted something like that. So I ended up going to Walmart, and the only case they had was like the official Nintendo Switch 2 case. And it is expensive. Like I think it's like $40 and it comes with like the official screen protector. I don't really buy official gear. Like, but I was like, look, I thought that there would be more here. This is the only option I have. I'm just going to buy it. And it's great. It's exactly what I wanted. Like it holds a few games. It has enough for like the Joy-Con bumpers. The screen protector is great. So I got all that like dialed in because I'm like I got to have something cuz I'm going on vacation, right? And so I packed up everything in the Switch box, the dock, all that stuff, and then we went on vacation, for like a whole week. And dude, the Switch was like the Switch 2 was probably like the star of the vacation outside of like any events and stuff we were doing because like everybody would play Mario Kart. We played Knockout Tour. I'll tell you something that was really cool. What we would do, we would play like Grand Prix, and whoever was like the last person or whatever, like the lowest on the list, they had to give up their controller. So we were like, playing 4-player Mario Kart World. We were playing Switch Sports, Mario Party Jamboree. Like, we were playing all these games, like the whole time. And yes, you could do that with the Switch, but like we were also taking it like when people wanted to watch a movie and like setting it on the table and playing like, Mario Kart World or whatever, in tabletop mode, and you could actually see. Like that's to me a big thing is like the screen, like the 2 inches on the screen make a massive difference. And something else that I tried like right out of the box, I didn't think about it, but me and another guy, we were like playing Super Mario 3D World, game casted. We played that for an hour, and it was a fantastic experience. Legitimately, like no hiccups. I mean, that game isn't like playing. I don't know, like Call of Duty, but like it definitely is like fast, But there was no like hiccup between the consoles, and I was game casting to my original Switch, and it was able to keep up. It was a great experience. So like I feel like I kind of got an opportunity to really try out like the multiplayer side of the Switch 2 and just playing together, right? Which is something that I really like about Nintendo. I feel like they do that better than just about any other company out there for games. But yeah, everybody loved it. We used the Switch One Joy-Cons or whatever to play like Switch Sports and tennis and all that, and yeah, it all worked really well. Like it just did everything that I expected it to do, not without really any hiccup, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing what you were saying made me think of is when when I was at my second job. So I'll just say it. I don't care. So my like side gig is I work at a music venue and kind of lead the production stuff there. And in between like when doors open and the show is about to start, I was sitting in the office playing the Switch 2, and this was like the day after it came out. And the guy that's in charge of like the bar, he like walked in. He's like, "Oh, dude, is that a Switch 2?" I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, it's awesome." He's like, "How's it in Mario Kart?" I was like, "Dude, it's pretty awesome. I've been playing it so far." And he was like, "I was like, you want to play?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a minute." So like, I literally just like pulled off the Joy-Con. And we played right there, and like once again, like it was just cool because it's like this is what the Switch is all about.
Hmm.
And like I remember that the original Switch like reveal trailer where it was like just like showing all the different ways it could be played. Like I think that exact scenario. I think that maybe like the people were on a plane or something, and they were like, "Want to play?" or something. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And so, just like the Switch, it seems like both of us kind of together. Let me put it this way. So like, I'm sitting in front of my 4K 120 hertz monitor, and I've got like nice headphones, and I play games in here, and I play Call of Duty on my Xbox in here. I play my Switch in here. I stream in here, and I have cool lights in here. But like, getting back to taking the Switch places and just like popping off a Joy-Con and playing impromptu Mario Kart and doing like couch co-op with your family, like that is what Nintendo is all about. And it was really I just think it's cool that like the two of us combined like really encapsulated like the Nintendo experience, which when like not none of that is how I play video games most of the time for the most part.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like just like getting back to the basics of just like what Nintendo is about.
Yeah, it kind
um
of reminds me of
cool.
like, I don't know if you ever saw this commercial when the Wii came out, but like
We
this,
would like to play.
yeah, it reminds me of
Remember
that.
that?
Just
Yep.
like we would like to play, and like they're just have
Hmm.
it's just fun. Like
Hmm.
we never had a bad time playing the Switch 2.
Yeah.
And like again, yes, you could do it with the Switch 1. We had done it in the past with the Switch 1, but this just was like such a fun new experience playing Knockout Tour on Mario Kart World, which I mean, holy crap, that mode is freaking awesome. Like
We'll get
just
to that.
yeah. So, but yeah, I just that is true. We kind of like between the week that we've had, we kind of just like got the whole Nintendo, the whole gaming experience, like what gaming should be, right? Like whether
Yep.
it's online or like with people or like out and about, like it's just supposed to be fun. And I feel like the Switch 2 is just it's just fun.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to add was like I think the bigger screen is really going to make a difference in this, like the portability of it. Like, it's only, what is it, an inch and a half bigger, I think, than the first Switch,
Yeah,
but it
something like
makes
that.
a huge, huge
It
difference in
does.
tabletop mode, especially when you go to do some split screen Mario Kart with somebody on tabletop. It's it is such a better experience.
Yeah.
You can just see some like it would just always hurt my eyes to try to play tabletop, and then if I try to go down to two players on Mario Kart or something, it was rough. But
Hmm.
yeah, it makes a huge difference. But um, we'll get into like specs and stuff. One other thing I did want to bring up before we move on, just about like the opening week, is that the launch of the Switch 2 has been really successful.
Hmm.
Um, both in terms of sales. So I believe it is the fastest selling console or Nintendo console of all time, and it's might even be like the second or third fastest ever. I don't know about that statistic, but it's like up near the top. But worldwide, it's sold 3.5 million so far units, and 1.1 million in the U.S. at the time of this video being recorded. Um, and I know like tons of people that I guess I don't personally know them, but I statistics are showing that a lot of people that didn't pre-order them have been able to just walk into a store and get them. And I have seen them myself at stores with my own eyes. I mean, hell, I was able to buy one.
Hmm.
Just walked into Best Buy. So suck it, scalpers.
Yeah, actually, I just looked it up. So the Switch 2 is the fastest selling console of all time. 3.5 million units over 4 days. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. And I mean, and you could skew that statistic with like the stock problems that like PS5 Series X had during COVID and all that, but still, like, not I'm not even just talking about like what the Switch has, like the numbers that it's sold, but like the success and the availability to get them has been really cool
Yeah.
after the way that tech has been the last several years.
Hmm.
So, good job, Nintendo, getting your stock together.
So
Sweet.
let's talk about the actual console, right? Like we've talked about how fun it is and all that, and a little bit about like screen size and whatnot. Um, but like, let's talk about compared to Switch 2, we opened up the box, like what we're seeing, all that. So again, I kind of mentioned earlier, like the first thing for me was the screen. Like you turn on the screen and it feels premium. And I remember when
Yeah.
I opened up the Switch 1, back in like, I think I got mine in 2019, and turning it on, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. This was different. This was like,
Hmm.
whoa, it's sharp. It's extremely fluid. It's extremely crisp. Um, it's on another level. Like
Yeah,
I like
it felt like opening like an Apple product.
yes, absolutely. Um, and I mean, even just like the UI, like going through and like having like the music. I don't know. Well, I did. I don't know how yours was, but there was like background music playing on mine, like during
Yeah,
the
yeah,
live
that
stream.
was cool.
Like it just sounded like the speakers sounded great. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know how you felt about, you know, that, like kind of what you first saw, like getting it booted up, and like when you like actually got it and like loaded it into the dock, like what that experience kind of was.
Yeah, well, I guess one thing that popped up and like um you'll see it in the unboxing video, and I promise this is what is 100% genuine. This was not like a scripted or like forced reaction. But the first time my Joy-Con clicked into my like actual like Switch unit, I was like, whoa. Like I knew how it worked, but to like feel it the way that it just goes, it like it's like it pulls itself in there.
Yeah,
It, oh, dude, after like the awkwardness of trying to get like the Switch One Joy-Cons on and off there, and like trying to get the rails on and off, and like get them in and out of the control, like, and how awkward that was. The way that they just like, and then they just like pop off, dude. That was like, I know that's not like a graphical performance thing, but just like the experience
yeah.
of unboxing it and feeling that was awesome.
What's really
And then
funny
just like,
is I had a coworker who was looking at mine today, and he did that,
yeah,
and that was almost his exact same reaction. He like
yep,
clicked it in, and he went, and I was like,
yeah.
yeah, like right.
Whoa. Yeah, yeah, and when you, it's funny too, the the Switch itself, like without the Joy Cons, it looks like an iPad, like it's huge.
Yeah,
So, which is almost a problem. Which I guess that's a, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself while we're talking about it. I think that's like, I'm still getting used to it,
mm-hmm.
but it almost feels a little too big, and that's like the trade-off for how great it is in tabletop now.
Yeah,
But it almost feels like a little big to hold. Like when I pick this up right here, it's like I think I'm just getting used to it because like all this time with like, you know, my whole life with like a Game Boy Advance and like a DS, I think I've held it like this with my pinkies down here, and that's how I held my Switch One, and it was like it was pushing the lines. But this one, it even with my big hands, like it just doesn't work. And I think I need to just get used to like holding it like this.
mm-hmm.
But like, but then it also like shifts my thumb like too high up to reach the stick or something.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I'm kind of having to like relearn how to hold it. And there may be certain games that I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this handheld, but I don't know. That'll be a thing to like come back to a year from now to see how I get used to it. But that's like, it's a double-edged sword because you know the huge screen is awesome, but also I'm just like, I don't know how to hold this thing, and I'm still getting used to it.
yeah. I had an experience where I was on vacation. I was sitting in like an armchair, and I was able to like prop my elbows up, and I would kind of do that with the other, you know, the Switch or whatever. But like with the Switch 2, it is like, hey, feels more weighty. The like, if I were to say anything about the hardware of the Switch 2, it just feels premium, where,
Hmm.
you know, so like when you're holding it, like you said, it's kind of like an Apple product. Like it feels heavier, like, you know, that there's like, it feels quality. But yeah, just like holding it like this, I'm like, yeah, I can play like a knockout tour, but I'm probably not going to play like an hour of Zelda like this. I'm going to want to put it down in like tabletop mode.
Yeah. We started to talk about this and got a lot off topic, but graphics, awesome.
Yes.
Performance, awesome.
Yes.
UI, uh,
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's just I'd love something better. That doesn't feel like a Switch One, but yeah, dude, Mario Kart looks amazing.
It really
We'll,
does.
we'll get to this here in a little bit, but like I've played some of the upgraded games. They all look awesome. Like I'm really excited for what's next, and then we're both wanting to hopefully try Cyberpunk here pretty soon.
Hmm.
It'll be cool to see that. But yeah, man, the games are just looking beautiful so far.
Yeah, like I kind of said earlier, this to me is the first like high fidelity portable console. Like after seeing like Mario Kart World, and then like you watch stuff on your phone, you're like, okay, that's good, but the screen's like this big. This is
Hmm.
this big with HDR and like again, I was letting somebody play it today with Mario Kart World, and they were like, "Holy crap, dude!" They were like, "This game looks stunning," and it's Mario Kart, and I'm like, "Yeah, imagine what you know." Again, Cyberpunk, which I mean, I play that on this rig, and it's like just a visual treat. So like throwing it in docked mode too, and like that to me was absolutely shocking. Like when I threw it in dock mode and had it in 4K on my TV, I was just like the title screen of Mario Kart where it's like driving around. You're like, this game looks freaking great. Like it
Yeah.
really does.
Well, and
So
we keep referencing Cyberpunk as like, like the high power game, but like that's a 5-year-old game too. Like, what's coming is
yeah,
exciting. I have Hogwarts Legacy. I need to play it some more. I played like 10 minutes of the training mission because that's all I had time for. But it looked really good, so
mm-hmm,
I'm excited to see. I mean, I guess Elden Ring is coming soon. There's more stuff like that, so
mm-hmm,
it'll be cool to see how these look coming for these games coming up.
yeah.
Look, um, was there any more? I guess I already talked about this, like the Pro Controller, the new Joy Cons feel great.
Yeah, dude, they
Um,
really feel good.
One thing I really like about the Joy Cons is like, let me pop this off here. So the bumpers are so much easier to press in,
Yes.
and not just their positioning, but like the actual click of it. And like I would use the rails like for Mario Kart and stuff because it made it easier to press the buttons. But like you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to. The only thing I've used the things for so far is for mouse mode because if you try to do mouse mode without it, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um, so here, wait, watch this. I know everyone's seen it at this point, but watch. I'm not even touching any buttons. Just
Yeah.
oh, it gives me a. I shouldn't say.
Yeah. But
Not to cut that out. Yeah, I think we talked about it, like accessories. I you're talking about getting the camera. I was able to get my Logitech webcam that I've had forever to work, and it seems like it works fine. Any other thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, so I did read today. I have not personally confirmed it, but it's enough to make me like move over to it. I saw that the actual Nintendo camera can work with the USB A to C so that you're supposedly able to like have it permanently docked. Cuz like I don't know why Nintendo went like all in on like advertising it USB-C connected directly to the Switch. Like if that was a feature that like just say or you can connect, maybe they're just trying to sell the camera, but like I mean I looked at some 1080p camera on Amazon or whatever, and it's like 30-40 bucks, and I'm like, well, if I can just dock the Switch 2 and it comes to the stand, I'll just get that. Like that's not that much more money to me or whatever. It's not like a whole nother game. So I'll probably end up picking that up, but yeah, I guess like I've been using the Joy-Con controllers. Like again, like I talked about, we played lots of stuff, the original Joy-Cons, and like they paired pretty well. Like there was once or twice where I had to like repair them for whatever reason, but like I mean they track great. Like they work exactly like you would expect them with the console. Um, but the screen protector, like I mentioned, that I got like the official screen protector, which I think is a Hori. It just doesn't say it in the box or whatever. Like, dude, it went on exactly like you would. It is like cut, like diamond cut to like fit the Switch screen. So like no rigmarole of like having to like take it off and redo it or anything. Like it fits exactly. So I was like, yeah, I don't ever buy like official stuff. And so
Yeah.
it's nice to kind of like have gotten that with this console, and it all is just like really works, right?
Yeah.
So,
Um, I haven't tried my old Joy Cons yet, but I did try my old Pro Controller.
yeah.
And it's working great. So
Yeah,
no
I've been
problems
using
there.
the Pro controller pretty much exclusively in like docked mode or whatever. So
Did
it's
you have like the official Nintendo one?
mhm.
Okay,
Now
sweet.
I will say I have read that there have been issues with third party controllers. So you know I don't know. I was looking at getting an 8-bit do like Ultimate controller, probably so that I could use it between like PC and like Xbox and whatnot. But I think the jury's still out on whether or not all those are working exactly as intended. So I'm gonna give it more time before I pick anything up like that. But
Yeah. So there's not a ton of new features here. As we've said before, the Switch 2 is really just a better Switch 1.
mhm.
One of the new features, which is great, we both love that. But one of the new features is voice chat. I'm really enjoying this, like
Yeah,
more than I thought I would. And like it's nothing crazy, like it's Nintendo Discord basically. But having that built into the console, man, that's it was so needed. And like the built-in microphone on the console, that's a really nice feature too.
yeah,
And like um I've only played with voice chat in my living room once. And it worked well, but like when I've been sitting in here playing, like I haven't even messed with like trying to use a gaming headset. Like I've got one sitting behind me I could plug into the controller, and which is funny because that's part of why I bought the new Pro controller. Um, but like so far I've just been like running it through my TV and using the microphone on the console, and it works pretty well. You've been doing that too.
yeah. I mean, I've been sitting probably I don't know 7 feet away, if not more, from the console, um, and I mean I haven't heard any complaints from you. So like I'll be honest, when I saw that feature, I was like, oh, this is probably gonna suck, and I'm very happy to be wrong. Like it seems to work
Yeah.
great. So I also used it with a set of like Bluetooth earbuds. Now, I think the caveat it says like when you pair the earbuds is like depending on what you have, you could get latency or something, and it still uses the microphone on the Switch. It doesn't use a Bluetooth microphone, probably for like processing and like noise canceling and all that. But like, dude, I just like sat down, put the console in the dock, connected my earbuds, put them in, and I'm playing on the TV with the sound coming through the earbuds and game chatting. Like it worked perfect. It like, which again, like I don't normally expect that. I expect there to be some sort of like failure at some point, but like it all just worked like I thought it would work, and that's been a really great thing with game chat.
Yeah, I was able to use my AirPods with my Switch too. And I know with like the Switch One, you could do it, but there was like lag and it was pretty bad. But there seems to be no latency with my AirPods. I haven't tried to see if I could voice chat with my AirPods as the mic. I'm not sure. Um,
I don't think you can. Like I said, because I went to
yeah,
game chat with my earbuds in, and they have a microphone, and you couldn't select, like you couldn't change the sound output or the input. It was like
yeah.
console, and it does say, like I said, in the Bluetooth pairing, it says like cannot use Bluetooth microphone. So I'm gonna guess that it probably doesn't work, but
hmm But well, I mean, like I guess when you're playing in handheld, at least, like I don't think the quality you're gonna get from like an average Bluetooth pair of Bluetooth headphones is any better than like the mic on the Switch is gonna pick you up when
yeah,
you're a foot and a half from your face. So
yeah.
not a huge. I mean, if you could do it in your living room like that, that'd be nice. But um, yeah, the camera. I actually haven't been on the receiving end of someone using the camera yet, because I've used mine and like you've seen it,
Mm-hmm. It came through
and like my
good.
buddy I was playing with it. Yeah, it's like it's cool to like see people's face when they drive by in Mario Kart and stuff like that. That's fun. But I don't think anyone that I've played with has had one yet. And then of course we have like the screen sharing, which it's rough,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll say this, and this is something that I didn't really think about that I've kind of experienced. If the person, so like you for example, because it's been mostly you, besides like the one night I played Mario Kart with my friend, um, if the person, if their screen is what I want to watch, like that's my main thing on my screen, that is abysmal. However, when I just have it down there at the bottom of my screen, I'm only glancing at it for a second. And
Hmm.
I don't need to see, 60 frames. I'm just like looking to see where you are on the map. Or like last night, you and I were playing Splatoon 3 and I was helping you with like a menu navigation thing. And like all I needed to see was like for a second to see what menu you were on.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to make excuses because it is pretty bad, but I will say it doesn't bother me as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That it's like 10 frames a second, or like probably less than that. Like the frame rate is really bad and it looks pretty rough, but like it kind of gets the job done more than I thought it would.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
the way I have thought about it is like if I would take a hit in actual game performance for like better frames on game chat
oh,
screen
absolutely
share,
not.
then just leave it the way it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's completely acceptable for like you said, like, hey, where you at, right, or whatever. Like let me just look
Yeah,
down there. But yeah, if it was like, hey, I'm trying to view you like a watch your stream on
right.
Twitch, that's a whole different component.
Not
So
acceptable.
but
But
I don't know what it's like on other consoles because I don't ever do that. But I'm pretty sure on like PlayStation, you can like watch your friends like games or something like that. So I don't know what that ends up looking like. But yeah, that is I guess the only like outstanding negative thing that I'm like, yeah, this is kind of brutal, but it really hasn't been a problem.
yeah, so like I actually did have some experience with that. So like when I play Call of Duty with like Preston and Thomas, a lot of times like me and Preston will stream our games. So this is kind of convoluted to explain, but like I have my console sitting next to my computer and I'm running a capture card. So like I'm viewing my actual console on one screen and on my second screen I have my computer with Discord running. And so like I see other people's like stream through Discord on that monitor. And so like Preston is on PC and he's just screen grabbing. But when Thomas plays with us too, he'll do it and he can because Discord is on Xbox. He can actually stream his to Discord from his Xbox and it works pretty well. If you don't have Discord Nitro, I think it locks you at 30, like 720/30 or something. And then if you have Nitro, you can do 1080/60 or whatever. But yeah, that is going so like with Thomas, that is coming directly off his console. And then like if I'm set up and playing in the living room, I'll do it that way too. So Preston can see mine. So
Yeah.
um, I don't know if like Xbox Party Chat supports that. We stopped using it once they integrated Discord just because it's more customizable when you're
Hmm.
cross-platforming. But that doesn't really have anything to do with the Switch. But
Yeah.
just a rant. So the only other thing on the console that I have is just kind of like a blanket statement is like the battery life is a little concerning and I'm not going to get into right now, but I think there's been some stuff that people are realizing that their indicator isn't reading right and it's actually better than you think it is, and there's a way you can fix that. That's for another time, but um the battery life is like not not the best. Um but otherwise the console is perfect
Hmm.
and I love it. I have no complaints about it at all. And all the new stuff is it just feels like a wonderful quality of life upgrade to a system that was already great.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
on the battery life stuff, I can see it not being that great, but like I said, I played it a lot in handheld mode, and I want to say I got like 3 hours of like multiplayer time out of it, and I'm like, am I really gonna be playing in handheld mode that much more? I bet there are some people that do. For
yeah.
me, that's plenty acceptable, but yeah, I completely agree. I mean, hardware wise, it's really hard for me to find anything to complain about. Like
Yep.
I would I don't know, maybe there's somebody who got it that's like, "Oh, I just don't like this or that or the other," but like somebody would have to tell me something at this point and say like, "Hey, did you notice this?" Like I haven't again, I've only had it a week, but it's like there's no Joy-Con drift. The Joy-Cons feel incredible. Like, you know, The UI feels incredible. Like everything just feels really, really good. You know, there's not like, except for like the game chat low frames, like that's the only thing that I can pick out right now that I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see that improved. And
Yeah.
again, maybe battery life.
Yeah. Well, and I know, like, I think it was our first video. I kind of went off on that rant, but like, I just don't think there's going to be a lot of scenarios where I'm even on the go where I'm playing the Switch where I don't have a power bank on me, or I'm not like near an outlet or something.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
it's
even
not
that,
ideal, but
yeah. Even that, like Nintendo has thought about it. They put a USB-C charging port on the top. So like,
hmm
yeah, like to me that it's like, I mean, I don't want to get. I'm definitely no like freaking fanboy of Nintendo, and like they can do no wrong. But I'm like, yeah, this just feels like a really, really good product.
hmm
So
yeah, it would have been nice for it to be like a bare minimum like 4 to 5 hour battery versus
mhm.
like a 2 to 3. But again, like I haven't had it die when I didn't want it to
Yeah,
yet. So and like I said, my whole first week I spent taking it all over God's creation.
yeah,
so so um well, moving on to the next topic. This is kind of a hard right turn, but um I've played a lot of Mario Kart, and there's not a ton of like other stuff out right now.
yeah,
But for me personally, I've been really getting into the upgraded games, and just being able to see these games in new life, or in a new light. And I've talked about this on videos, but a few years ago when Pokemon Violet came out, I was so excited, got it on launch day, got home and saw the absolute mess that that game was, and I tried to power through it, and eventually just got tired of all the problems, and I put it down, and it collected dust. And this past week, after seeing that they were giving it a buff for the Switch 2, I decided to give it a shot, and I just started it over. And there's still little glitches, and like, you'll see people like walking into a building like this and not moving, or every now and then like a Pokemon will be standing side. Like there's still glitches, but as far as like the pop ins and like just the graphics and
hmm,
frame drops, like it's smooth, it's extremely playable, and
yeah.
I'm loving the game. I feel like I'm finally getting to actually experience that. And there's been, I don't know if I've ever like, I'm sure I have at some point, but I don't know if I remember like getting so mad at a game being so bad that I just like screw this, and like especially a series that I've loved for over 20 years. So it's been really nice to get back into that. I did fire up Breath of the Wild, the Switch 2 edition, just for like 15 minutes. I do want to replay that, but I've just got more than enough to get to right now. But it looked. Did you get a chance to test the new Zelda stuff yet?
I haven't because, like I said, we've pretty much been playing like all multiplayer. But like, yeah, the only game I fired up really that was like upgraded was 3D World, and when I did, I was like,
Uh-huh.
crap, dude. I was like, this looks freaking great.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to fire up Breath of the Wild in like 4K.
Yeah, dude. It looks awesome. I still haven't tried out Odyssey or Smash yet. I actually started to last night, and then I was just tired.
I
But
did fire up Odyssey or whatever and went to the first level.
okay.
Well, the level whatever it is with the dinosaur and all that, where all the
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
It looks really good. Like
Dude, I'm excited.
because it looked like relatively good on the Switch,
Yeah.
and it's amazing when you see it on. It reminds me of like when this dates me, but like when I saw like 1080 for the first time, and then went back and like tried to play like an N64, and I was like, oh my gosh, these graphics are terrible. It
Yeah.
reminds me of that because like I'm going and seeing like Mario Odyssey, and then going back and looking at like the Switch, and I'm like, dude, this thing feels like a toy.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yeah, I haven't I don't think I've like played anything on my Switch one since, but when I do pick it up, it's funny cuz like the Switch one always felt so big, and now anytime I pick up the Switch one, I'm like, dude, this thing feels microscopic.
Yeah,
So, I always loved my my favorite like handheld as far as like comfortability. I thought the Switch Lite was like the perfect sweet spot
hmm,
as far as like just handheld, um But yeah, anything else on games like upgrade stuff?
Yeah, so I will say I've tried a couple of games that don't have upgrade packs. Like there was some like Ninja Turtles game that we got. I think it was called like Mutants Unleashed, and on the Switch one, it was basically unplayable. Like the loading times are extremely long. The graphics were bad, frame drops. Like it was freaking rough. And so actually tonight I threw it in the Switch too, and tried to play it or whatever, and it's equally as bad. Like the loading times are better, but like I really think the upgrade stuff is kind of necessary, because if there are games that like don't like aren't optimized for the Switch 2, they're not going to be using like the extra hardware power that it has and stuff like that. So that was kind of a bummer, because like I said, that Mutants Unleashed game, it's not a first party Nintendo game, but just kind of knowing that like it's compatible, but without some sort of like upgrade bump, it's basically going to be a similar experience on the that you would have on the original Switch. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, outside of that, we've played Jamboree. Jamboree looks fantastic, even though it's still technically a Switch 1 version, because they haven't released the Switch 2 like upgrade for it, but it
Yeah,
still
I
looks
wondered
really
if
good.
like what's there would look any better because I have Jamboree as well, and I really love it. And like it looks fine, but there's definitely some like artifacty looking stuff, that I saw playing it on the Switch One. So I haven't played it on Switch Two yet,
Yeah.
but I
What?
definitely plan on getting. It's like a $20 upgrade, I think.
Yeah, something like that, and it comes with like the extra like
New game, yeah.
Jamboree TV. But I have noticed that like at this point it's kind of weird, because like we got Mario Kart World, and then they've got a ton of like upgrade packs they announced, but they're all pre-order. So I'm like, I don't know when that stuff's gonna drop. Like, it. Who's this? There's no date on like Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Like that's one I'm really looking forward to, and I'm like, yeah, I think that'd be cool. So,
Oh yeah, I forgot that one's getting an upgrade too.
but
Um, Moving on. I guess the question was like, so that's kind of like a recap on what we've got so far. So like, what are you looking forward to next?
so for me, I think the thing that I'm probably looking forward to the most is Pokemon ZA. Like, if I'm being honest, like I've mentioned several times here that like I really liked Arceus. Like I had a great time with it.
Super cool game, yeah.
Um, I really like the Legends style of play. I won't go down that discussion, but everything that I've seen right now, I'm excited for that gameplay. I really am. I I'm a little worried about ZA and Prime Beyond, Metroid Prime Beyond, because they both have Switch One versions. And I think we kind of talked about this. While I'm excited for the games, after seeing like some of the stuff with like Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2, they're still like they're not perfect, right? They're not like Switch 2 games, right? Right, like Scarlet isn't a Switch 2 game. So I'm kind of wondering if we're going to end up with maybe like a better Switch 1 game on the Switch 2, because like I said, Prime Beyond and Legend ZA also have the Switch 1 versions, but I'm still really excited for those games. Like, and I hope that they play and perform as well on like the Switch 2 as you would expect. So,
Yeah.
there's also like several of the upgrades, like the Mario Jamboree, Mario Party Jamboree TV, the Kirby and the Forgotten Land like upgrade. Obviously like you know DK. I'm excited for that. We have some news on that. I guess we're gonna get a direct here. Um, so yeah, I think that's what's got me most pumped, at least in the next like 2-3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have Donkey Kong down on our list of things to talk about in this video, but to be totally honest, there's just not a lot really to talk about.
No, not right now.
Because we just don't. I mean, the game is like hardly a month away, and we know almost nothing about it. But at the making of this video, there is a direct 36 hours away or something. So I would say we'll probably come back and do a quick video of that in here in a couple days if we can find the time, or maybe one of us can hit that. But um, yeah, I mean, I'm certainly excited for it. I love Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong 64 is like one of my favorite games growing up. So I'm excited to see it done modern. So, um, that's a another good transition onto our next topic, which is that at and we're not going to be we don't want to be like a rumor channel. But at the current time, there's no confirmation of a Nintendo Direct, but there's a lot of reasons to assume that it's right around the corner.
Hmm.
And we won't even get into those reasons, but let's just play devil's advocate and pretend that there is a direct about to happen, which raises the question of like, okay, if there is one, what do you want to see in this first direct now that the Switch 2 is here? We got it in our hands. We're getting tired of Mario Kart. Not actually getting tired of it, but it's like, okay, game's great. What's next?
Yeah, so like just Mario Kart, like it's been super
Yeah,
fun. Um, but it's kind of been like the only exclusive Nintendo title that I've got.
yeah,
And I'm kind of like, all right, so in like a week, I've put in like 25 hours, which for me is a lot. Like,
me too.
that's
And that's
so,
also like 20. I did that and like 25-ish in Violet as well.
yeah.
So
So,
I've been weirded out.
I would, and you might have some more thoughts on this. There are some things with Mario Kart World that I think I would want to see updated or added to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not optimistic that it's going to look quite like this, but I'm really hoping that this game is treated like Animal Crossing New Horizons was in its first year, where there's like new features being added almost weekly. Like with that game, like there was new features just month after month after month. There's new outfits, new items, new character, like stuff just getting added constantly. And this is the conversation of like how Nintendo can make this an $80 game, and I'm not optimistic that we've paid for the game and we're done for life. I would love there to be free DLC from here on out. I'm not optimistic. We'll see. But like that's how this game becomes an $80 game, and I want to see things like more tracks added. I want to see I've got a long list of quality of life upgrades that I want to see.
Hmm.
That's going to be a separate video, but like a compass for free roam or better organization of the character screen. And then I want to see like more battle modes. I want to see tournament mode come back, 200cc. I want to see improvements to free roam. Um, and we decided to go ahead and do like a dedicated video
Yeah.
um, to give our thoughts on Mario Kart, kind of like we're doing right now with the Switch. We want to give our thoughts on Mario Kart World after like a week or whatever, to kind of follow up our first two videos. So we'll have that here soon, and go a little bit deeper into the stuff that I just kind of rambled on. But yeah, I'd love to see some just updates to this game. I think what's there is great,
Hmm.
but it's thirsty for more, and so am I. But um, the next thing I'd written down for some things I would want to see in a direct is just something about a 3D Mario
Hmm.
by the end of this year. And at the very least, an announcement. I think we fact checked this a minute ago, but I'm pretty sure every Nintendo console has had its marquee 3D Mario game in the first year, or within like a year of launch.
Yeah.
Which means we need a. It's got to be at least a trailer or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, I did find it interesting as I was looking up those notes that the only console Nintendo's released that didn't have like a Mario title to release in like the first year was the Wii U, and it didn't get one.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, at least to most people I know, is like the failed Nintendo console. Like I don't even know anybody that owns a Wii U, and I thought it was interesting because if you look at Sega's history with their consoles, the only console they didn't have that had like a mainline Sonic game was the Saturn, and that was also their like failure console, at least here in the States. So um, yeah, I definitely, well, and here's the other thing about the 3D Mario is like there was, I forget which game it was, but it was announced like 8 months. I think it was Sunshine was announced like 8 months after the GameCube or something like that. So it's not unheard of for them to take their time and announce the game much later. And like we know that we've got the Mario Brothers 2 movie coming out next year. So like
Yeah.
I just think like, dude, if Nintendo can like latch onto that synergy, like they're gonna be freaking printing money. Like they've got to know. So I would be really excited in a direct to just see something about new Mario coming.
This is a random memory, but I thought of this a minute ago. I don't know if you remember this, but when the 3D All Stars game came out, that got announced like a week before it was out, maybe 2 weeks or something.
Hmm.
There was like a direct. I think it was like a direct for like the Mario 35th anniversary, and then they revealed like the triple pack thing. It was like it's out in 2 weeks or something like that. I don't remember how long it was, but I seriously think it was like it was less than a month for sure, and I think it might have been like 2 weeks. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, and that was another game that like I was going on vacation and like I rushed to the store to buy it like literally the day I was leaving on vacation because it was like, hey,
Yeah.
it's in the store. Went and grabbed it, and then that's all I did on vacation was just play Mario 64.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't fired that one up in a long time. I think I beat 64 and played a little bit of the other two when it first came out, and I haven't touched it since.
Hmm.
So next thing, well, is just like stuff that I want to see in a direct, is updates in the GameCube stuff.
Hmm.
Right now we've got. I think you had the list up.
Yeah.
What do we have so far, and what's announced so far?
So right now we've got Soul Calibur 2, we've got Wind Waker, and we've got what's the other one? F-Zero G, I think it is. Um, and so, they've got several more coming. Mario Sunshine, which is supposed to be out or coming. Fire Emblem, Path of Resistance, which I've actually never played any of the Fire Emblem games, so that might be something that would be fun. Uh, we've got Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I've never played that, so I don't know what it is. Um, Mario Strikers, which, dude, I did love that on the GameCube. That was a blast.
Yep.
Luigi's Mansion, which I haven't played that in a really, really long time.
Yeah,
Um,
I've played that first one, but it's been a long time. I
uh,
didn't play that Pokemon one either. I played Pokemon Coliseum a little bit back in the day.
yeah, so Pokemon Coliseum's also coming, and then uh, Chibi Robo, which I've never heard of that. So
No idea.
it'll be an interesting game. So
Probably someone's favorite game that's watching this, and
yeah, but like
it's gonna block us.
Mario Strikers, Luigi's Mansion, like those seem really fun to me.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That. So I had put down a couple of games that I love that do want to see added to it. The first one would be, we can probably run through these kind of quick, but like
mhm.
Smash Melee would be amazing.
I mean,
And
with the
they never
GameCube controller, like,
Dude, yeah. Well, they never put Smash 64 on there, which is odd to me.
but I think they did.
Wait, did they?
Yeah, I think they have the original Smash Bros. on
Really?
the N64.
You might be right.
Because like
Well,
that,
they did. Go ahead.
that's the one I was like always the best at. Like I wasn't very good
Yeah.
at Melee, but like with Pikachu, like I could destroy on the original Smash. So I would like. I'm pretty sure we played that at work. That or I had my N64 and we were playing that.
I'll check in a second when you get to your list. That way I can not give out false information. But the next one was Mario Kart Double Dash. And I feel pretty good about this one because all the other Mario Karts have been put on so far. So I don't see a reason for Double Dash to not get added. And Double Dash was freaking awesome. So that's exciting. Both of those games, if they can make online multiplayer work with that, which they've done with like Nintendo 64 stuff,
Hmm.
that would be killer. Like, dude, imagine being able to play Melee online,
Yeah.
like game changing. But yeah, I put down. I'd love to see all the Mario parties, which is another one I feel pretty good about.
Hmm.
They've been consistent with that so far. I think 3 was a double dip on GameCube and Nintendo 64. 3 is already on there on the 64 stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And then 4,
dude,
5, 6, 7.
I remember like when I got a GameCube kind of late, um, and I specifically bought it for Mario Party 6, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh dude, that's why I'm buying it. And then when 7 came out, like I remember going to GameStop and buying that or whatever with like the microphone, or whatever. Like you got that
Oh
accessory, and
yeah,
they had like the random thing where it would be like you. There was only like 2 games that used it or whatever, but it was
yeah.
still really fun. But like I've always been such a huge fan of the Mario parties, um, but yeah, I'd like to see Metroid Prime on there. Um, like that was kind of like when the GameCube was released, like the killer app I remember for like GameCube, because it was like it was there were still a lot of people at that time because like you had Xbox that came out and it was like, oh, the Nintendo stuff is for kids, right? And then it was like, well,
Yeah.
you had Metroid Prime, which was like pretty good graphics, but I remember I like maybe it was just my perception at the time, and this is why I really would like to play Prime again. I remember like liking Prime in the beginning and then like getting bored with it. And so I'd like to play it as an adult and see like what that experience is like, especially with like the new Prime Beyond coming out and being like, hey, do I really like did I give it a fair shot? Um but yeah, I'd also like to see Beautiful Joe. Um that was a really cool, unique game that was kind of like I and this was the like again the problem with it. It was a great game. I really liked it, but so much of that era was like focusing on going to 3D. Like it was all like 3D, like Halo and Call of Duty, and you name it. Like if it wasn't a 3D game, if it was like side scrolling, it kind of was seen in like a little bit of a negative light. And so like Beautiful Joe had like a really cool art style and stuff. Um,
I never played that.
but um, yeah, just a few more like Super Monkey Ball. Like I know that's a Sega
Yes.
title, but man, I mean that was kind of synonymous. Like thinking about the GameCube, it's like very unique. There
Yeah.
wasn't anything like that on any other console. The graphics were cool and unique. Um, but yeah, I'd like to see that because I feel like that was probably one of the better uh, Super Monkey Ball games. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I mentioned this earlier, but not on the video, but when we were just talking, I whatever the Super Monkey Ball that came out for the Switch first was, I got it and it was like it was fun. It was just kind of like I don't know. It gave me like Super Mario Party vibes, just kind of like eh. And then I think there was another one that came out that was supposed to be way better, but I never played it.
mhm,
But yeah, dude, that original Super Monkey Ball on the GameCube is super freaking fun. So I'd love to see that get added.
yeah. And then my kind of final one I'd like to see is Twilight Princess, because
Yeah,
I never played
seems
Twilight
obvious.
Princess. So and
Yeah, me neither.
I know several people that like they really really liked that game, and so um, like I'm gonna go back and give Wind Waker a try, because again it was a different time in my life, and when I played Wind Waker I was like coming off of like the Zelda highs from the N64 era, and the art style just turned me off. And so I've heard people say it's like a really great game, so I'd like to revisit that and Twilight Princess and just be like, hey, what did I miss here?
Didn't did Princess have a remaster?
I
I feel like it got one on the Wii U.
I don't know.
There
It
was there was a Zelda game that got a remaster on Wii U. Skyward Sword is the
Yes. Twilight
that's
Princess
the Switch one.
HD was released for the
Yeah,
Wii U in 2016.
I think so. You mentioned earlier that you didn't know anyone with a Wii U. Thomas has one, and when we lived together, I remember watching him play Twilight Princess a little bit. Um, so I never played any version of it. So
Hmm.
I love Zelda, but my experience with it is kind of scattered. Like I've played a little bit here and there. Um, so that's one of the ones that I missed. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, GameCube, man, there's a never-ending list of games that could be added to there. But yeah, man, I think for me it's Smash Melee because I did check by the way, and I didn't see Smash 64 on there. So
Interesting.
those must have been on something else. So
Yeah.
it is kind of odd how they haven't put Smash Bros on anything yet. So, but um, kind of switching gears a little bit, but I guess like another thing for me, and I mentioned this earlier, is that I'd love to see in a direct is just some UI updates, like specifically for the Switch 2. Like it could be backgrounds, um, just like snappier home features, and
Hmm.
just something to separate it from the Switch 1 and make it feel more like new and premium. Because, like I was saying earlier, like when I spend a lot of money on a new piece of tech, like I want it to feel like something new. Like, and it can still feel familiar. Like, that's one thing that's nice is like the Switch kind of took the Apple approach of like you fire it up and you know everything is. But I don't know. I still kind of wish it had like a more just like new look and feel to it. So I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
Like
I'd
dynamic
definitely
background
like
or
to see
something.
that separation at some point because like again, when you turn on the Switch and the Switch 2, like they look exactly the same. And I'm like
Hmm.
I can tell you they are not. Like so
Yeah.
I'd like to see that at some point where it's like either like a cool redesign or like what you're saying like now I mean really the only thing that I've noticed that's different between the two consoles is like when you've highlighted something it's kind of got like this animated like rainbowish kind of like border
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I noticed that.
but
Yeah,
it
that's kind of cool.
yeah and that's neat. It's just not enough to separate it from like hey this is the Switch 2 like when you turn it on like you know it's the Switch 2.
Yeah. I guess a random thing to pop into my head. It was like it's always been weird to me that to this day the Switch is still missing like all the streaming apps. Like I think it has Hulu and YouTube, but it never got like Netflix. It'd be cool if it had Spotify, like, but I don't know. It's like if they were gonna add all that stuff, I feel like they would have done that years ago. So I don't really know what the deal is there.
So I did actually this dude, it's so random that you mentioned this. I did read a thing that I guess Nintendo and Google are in active development to like get the YouTube app like working 100% on the Switch 2. I never even knew they had one for the original Switch. But like
Yeah,
um
it's there. I just never really used it.
but yeah, I mean that's one that I'm like, yeah, I could see that being kind of a game-changing thing to have like those apps cuz it's got such a, you know, large and beautiful screen. You know, if you were to have
Hmm.
like streaming apps on there where you could, you know, watch your shows and whatnot. I mean, even with the battery life, that just adds so much more value to the console overall.
Yeah, dude, this is really random. But did you know that the 3DS had Netflix in like 2012?
What?
Dude, I promise it's real. I remember like watching The Office on my 3DS in 2012.
Dude, that's crazy.
It was bad quality, but yeah, it is kind of crazy that like that was a thing, and like the Wii had it, like so many years ago. It's crazy, but yeah, that's I swear that's a real thing.
Yeah,
So
and really when you I guess that would be something I would want to see in a direct is like, hey, we're bringing like the large media apps because like think about
mhm.
Xbox and PlayStation, like they both have, you know, access for a lot of that. Like
Everything. Yeah.
dude, I'd love to see like Plex or, you know, Netflix or like Disney Plus, any of those added, because again that just brings the value of the console overall like way higher, you know.
It's not a huge deal because like we all have 50 ways to watch those things, but
Mhm.
just for like as a status thing, like I feel like it should have it.
Yeah.
So even if I never even install them, but yeah, I mean, I guess I was saying how like, and we'll come back to Mario Kart, but it'd be awesome to be able to have Spotify and like play music when you're playing games, but it should be a seven deadly sin to play Spotify over the Mario Kart soundtrack because holy cow, dude,
Yeah,
there's some good stuff in there.
I will say this because I have mentioned it I think more than just about any other thing about Mario Kart World. The music in that game might be some of the best music I've ever heard in a video
Oh,
game.
dude,
Like
it's awesome.
it's really next level. It's pretty freaking awesome. So,
Yeah.
but you know that's kind of I guess our first impressions with the Switch 2 after a week. Like you know it's an awesome console. I have no regrets here. Like I would say like if you're on the fence, you know, and you're waiting for more games, like if you're a first time buyer, there's plenty of stuff already out there, but man, I really would have to have somebody point out something negative to me after my experience with a week. So, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna be like, you know, probably trying and doing some more like podcasting stuff now that we've had time to like play the game. Probably some like live podcast stuff, you know, streaming, all that kind of good stuff. You know, we're gonna be on Twitch, on YouTube Live, you know, probably have some shorts on like Instagram, you know, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. Um, And you can check out all those handles. They should have been scrolling across the screen with our overlay and whatnot. So Switchcraft and Switchery or some form of it. But yeah, man, check us out as we're getting to know the Switch 2 and getting to play all the new games and things for it. And keep plugged in, like, comment, subscribe, and if you're enjoying what we're putting out, we're not stopping anytime soon. So until next time, we'll see you guys later.